Hey everyone. Welcome to AfriHeart Stories, your go-to spot for African tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Now sit back and enjoy. The clock read 12:47 a.m. when Kiana slammed the kitchen drawer shut. Her chest was rising and falling too fast for her to hide it anymore. So what, Malik? She snapped. You think it's okay to just cancel on me last minute? Again? Malik leaned against the fridge, arms crossed. I had a work emergency. It's not like I was out clubbing, Kiana. Kiana scoffed. That's not the point, and you know it. There's always something, Malik. You forgot our anniversary dinner. You missed my promotion party. And now my dad's birthday? Come on. He exhaled deeply. Your dad doesn't even like me. That's not the excuse, she replied, voice trembling now. You used to try. You used to show up. You used to be here. Malik ran his hand over his short curls, the same way he always did when he was cornered. Why do you always have to make everything a test? Kiana felt the tears pooling behind her eyes, but she wouldn't let them fall. Not yet. I'm not testing you, she said quietly. I just want to matter. The silence that followed was deafening. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He didn't even blink. That was the answer. Kiana turned away, grabbed her purse from the dining chair and muttered, I'll stay at my mom's tonight. You're being dramatic. That stopped her. She turned slowly, eyes wide, voice shaking. Dramatic? You are, he said, lifting his hands. You blow things out of proportion. Every couple fights. But you, he shook his head. You always run. Kiana stared at him. Maybe I run because you never chase. That landed. She saw it in his eyes. But he didn't reach for her. He didn't beg her to stay. So she walked. Down the hallway, past the photos of their beach trip in Zanzibar, past the cozy couch they picked together from that little boutique, past the shoes he never put on the rack. She walked right out the door. The slam echoed behind her. Outside the air was cold. Her car's engine hesitated before starting, as if warning her. She ignored it and drove into the night. The guest room at her mother's house still had the floral bedsheets from high school. Nothing had changed, except Kiana. And maybe Naomi, her younger sister, who greeted her with a warm hug in the hallway. You okay? Naomi asked softly, rubbing Kiana's back. Kiana didn't answer. She simply nodded and went to bed. But sleep never came. Instead, the argument played on repeat in her head. You blow things out of proportion. Maybe I run because you never chase. She thought she'd feel better once she walked away. She thought she'd feel powerful. Instead, she just felt empty. Morning came with too much light and not enough peace. Kiana stumbled into the kitchen to find Naomi cooking eggs and toast. Made extra, Naomi smiled. Thought you might be hungry. Thanks, Kiana said, voice hoarse. She sat down and tried to eat, but every bite tasted like sand. Naomi placed a glass of orange juice beside her, then sat opposite her with that look, half concerned, half waiting for Kiana to spill. He just doesn't get it, Kiana said finally. Naomi nodded. You've been holding that relationship together for too long. Maybe. Kiana looked down at her plate. I keep wondering if I overreacted. Naomi leaned forward. You didn't. You deserve someone who fights for you. Not just shows up when it's convenient. Kiana gave a small smile. You always know what to say. Naomi shrugged. I'm your sister. That's my job. But something flickered in Naomi's eyes. A flicker that passed too quickly for Kiana to name. That afternoon, Kiana wandered into her childhood bedroom and pulled out the shoebox of memories. Old photos, letters, birthday cards. There was one photo of her and Malik in matching jerseys at a football game, both of them mid-laugh. She ran her fingers over it. 5 years, she whispered. Just gone. It wasn't just the breakup that stung, it was everything they'd built. The future she saw. The trips they planned. The children they talked about. All of it crumbling in the blink of a bitter night. Her phone buzzed. Mom, hope you're feeling better. Call me if you need anything. She sighed. Nothing from Malik. Not even a, did you make it home safe? She didn't know what she expected. A fight maybe. A chase. At least an I'm sorry. But silence? That hurt the most. That night, Naomi knocked on her door holding 2 mugs of tea. Chamomile, she said with a soft smile. Thought you might need it. Kiana took the mug gratefully and scooted over on the bed. They sat in silence for a while before Kiana said, Do you think I made a mistake? Naomi sipped her tea. No. I think you did what you had to. I keep wondering, Kiana said slowly. What if I just talked instead of walking out? Then you'd still be hurting, Naomi said. But from inside the relationship instead of outside. Kiana looked at her. Have you talked to him? Naomi blinked. What? Malik. Have you seen him since? Naomi shook her head too quickly. No. Of course not. Kiana nodded. But something in her gut twisted. By midnight, Kiana lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She whispered into the dark, God, did I ruin something good? Or did I finally walk away from something fake? A tear slipped down her cheek. Not for Malik. Not entirely. But for the girl she used to be, hopeful, sure in love. Now all she had was silence. And silence, she realized, was louder than any slammed door. Morning sunlight spilled into the kitchen, warming the tiled floor beneath Kiana's bare feet. Naomi stood by the sink, humming as she poured herself coffee. You're up early, Naomi said, flashing a smile. Kiana slid onto a stool, her arms crossed on the breakfast bar. Didn't really sleep. Naomi walked over, placing a second cup in front of her. Figured. I heard you tossing all night. Kiana looked down at the coffee. Thanks. A beat of silence passed. You gonna call him? Naomi asked. Kiana shrugged. What's the point? To say what you didn't say that night, Naomi replied, voice gentle. You walked out mid-argument. That doesn't mean the feelings walked out too. Kiana tilted her head, studying her sister. You think I made a mistake? Naomi hesitated just a moment too long. I think you should follow your heart. Kiana smiled wryly. I did. That's why I left. Naomi looked down at her cup. Then maybe you should follow it back. Later that afternoon, Naomi sat cross-legged on Kiana's bed, sorting through photos from a dusty old album. She held one up, a beach day snapshot of Kiana and Malik, wet sand clinging to their ankles, laughing mid-splash. You two really were something, Naomi murmured. We were, Kiana said quietly, sitting beside her. Naomi traced the edge of the photo with her nail. Do you still love him? Kiana blinked at the question. Yes. And no. I think I miss what we used to be. Naomi nodded. It's okay to miss it, but maybe it's also okay to let it go. Kiana frowned. That's deep coming from you. Naomi grinned, then looked down again, this time more pensive. Just saying. Sometimes what we want isn't what's right. But again, that flicker. That tension behind her eyes. That night, as Kiana folded laundry in the guest room, she noticed a hoodie in Naomi's pile that looked all too familiar. Black. Oversized. Frayed sleeves. And a faded logo of the music festival she and Malik attended 2 years ago. Her heart paused. She picked it up. It even smelled like his cologne. Naomi, she called. A beat. Then footsteps. Naomi appeared in the doorway. Yeah. Kiana held up the hoodie. Where did you get it? Naomi blinked, then shrugged. I don't know. Maybe from the pile of clothes you left at the house. Kiana narrowed her eyes. I didn't bring any of Malik's things here. Naomi laughed nervously. Then maybe he gave it to me a long time ago. For errands or something. I really don't remember. Kiana nodded slowly but said nothing. Her gut was no longer whispering. It was screaming. The house was quiet after dinner. Naomi had gone out, claiming to meet a friend. Their mom was asleep. And Kiana was stuck in her thoughts. She sat by the window with her phone, staring at Malik's contact. Malik Redheart. Still saved that way. She typed. Hey. Deleted it. Typed again. Can we talk? Deleted it. Then she tossed the phone aside. No, she whispered. He should be the one reaching out. But the silence ate at her. By midnight she was pacing. She glanced at the fridge and saw one of their old magnets, a tourist souvenir from their Cape Verde trip. She smiled faintly. Remember when you lost your sandals in the tide? She murmured to herself. You said it was a sign to stop running. The irony hit too hard. She grabbed her journal and flipped to the last page she wrote before the breakup. Doodles. Frustrations. A tiny heart next to his name. Then nothing. Maybe I gave up too easily. Maybe he gave up first. She looked back at her phone. This time she didn't text. She decided, I'll go there tomorrow. I'll say it. To his face. In the morning, as she searched her drawers for something decent to wear, her hand brushed a velvet box. Inside was a silver pendant, heart-shaped. The same one Malik gave her for her last birthday. But now, Naomi had one just like it. Kiana froze. It wasn't just similar. It was identical. Down to the chain. The clasp. The slight scratch on the side. Her stomach flipped. She marched into Naomi's room and flung open the dresser. jewelry boxes, perfumes. And in one box, a second pendant. Naomi's. Identical. He gave the same gift to my sister? Or worse, did he re-gift it to her? She couldn't breathe. Kiana sat on the edge of her bed, the two necklaces in her hand trembling. The pieces of the puzzle were no longer scattered. They were forming a picture she didn't want to see. She heard the front door creak. Naomi. Kiana stood. Naomi. Naomi appeared in the hallway, smiling like nothing was wrong. Yeah. Kiana held up both necklaces. Explain this. Naomi's eyes widened. Why are you going through my stuff? Don't deflect, Kiana snapped. Where did you get this necklace? Naomi looked to the side. It was a gift. From Malik. Silence. Naomi, Kiana said, voice breaking. Please. Tell me I'm wrong. Naomi rubbed her temple. It wasn't like that. So it was from him? Naomi folded her arms. It was after you broke up. You reached out. We talked. I didn't plan it. Oh my God, Kiana gasped. You're sleeping with him? No. Naomi shouted. No. We just started talking. He was hurting. I was there. Kiana took a step back. You were waiting. Naomi's lips parted, but nothing came out. I can't be here, Kiana whispered, storming out the front door. Kiana's heart pounded as she gripped the steering wheel. The morning sun was just rising, casting long shadows across the road. But her mind wasn't on the beauty of the day. It was on him. And her. Her phone buzzed. Naomi, please don't do anything stupid. She ignored it. This isn't about revenge, she told herself. It's about closure. As she neared Malik's house, memories flooded her. The corner store where they bought late-night ice cream. The street he taught her to parallel park on. The bus stop where he first told her he loved her. It all felt like a movie she no longer starred in. She turned onto his street and immediately saw it. Balloons on the porch. White and gold. A banner on the front door. She said yes. Her stomach dropped. No, please no. She parked 2 houses away and walked toward the door, her legs like stone. She knocked, no answer. She turned the knob, it opened. Laughter echoed from inside. She stepped in. Malik. On one knee. Naomi. Crying. Smiling. A diamond ring between them. Kiana's world shattered. Kiana couldn't move. The scene before her played in slow motion. Malik, kneeling in front of Naomi, a diamond ring glinting in the morning light. Naomi's hands were clasped over her mouth, tears streaking her cheeks, but they were tears of joy. Malik hadn't seen her yet. Naomi had. Her smile faltered. Her eyes locked with Kiana's, wide and frozen. Kiana, she breathed. Malik turned around slowly, his face going pale. Kiana. The apology letter Kiana had folded into her coat pocket slipped from her hand and drifted to the floor like a feather. For a few seconds no one said a word. The silence was a screeching hurricane in her ears. You weren't supposed to see that, Naomi finally whispered. Kiana stared at the ring. You proposed to her? Naomi stepped forward, wiping her face. It just happened. Malik stood up, reaching out. I was going to call you. Don't, Kiana snapped, backing away. Don't you dare lie to me right now. Naomi's mouth trembled. You left him. Kiana laughed bitterly. So you decided he was up for grabs? Malik's voice cracked. It's complicated. No, Kiana said. It's crystal clear. She turned and walked out. No one followed. Kiana drove blindly, barely seeing the road through the tears blurring her vision. They didn't even look sorry. They looked caught. As if her walking in ruined their happy little secret. As if she was the one who had intruded on them. Her phone rang. Naomi. She declined it. Then Malik. Declined. The third call was her mom. She picked up. Yes. Naomi just came home crying, her mom said softly. What happened? Kiana pulled the car over and let her head fall onto the steering wheel. They're engaged, she whispered. Silence. Then a quiet, oh. You knew, Kiana accused. I suspected, her mom admitted. Naomi's been distracted lately. Kiana's voice dropped. And you didn't say anything? I didn't know how. I thought maybe it wasn't serious. They were in our house. Laughing. Lying. I'm sorry. Kiana ended the call. Sorry wasn't enough. Back at her mom's house, the tension was thick. Kiana stood in the kitchen, arms folded, as her mother leaned on the counter, staring into her teacup like it held answers. You could have warned me, Kiana said. I didn't think it would come to this. You didn't think Naomi would betray her own sister? Her mother flinched. Don't twist my words. I'm not twisting anything. I'm untwisting everything you let fester. Her mom looked up. Do you want to know the truth? Kiana crossed her arms tighter. I'm listening. She's always envied you, her mother said. Since you were little. The good grades, the attention, your job, and then Malik. Kiana blinked. So you knew she liked him? I didn't think she'd act on it. That makes it worse. Her mother exhaled. You always protected her. Even when she didn't deserve it. Kiana's voice dropped. And I still would have, if she didn't take the one person I never thought she'd touch. She wanted to be you, her mom said. Well, Kiana muttered, she can have my leftovers. Kiana needed air. She drove to her favorite cafe, the one with the vine-covered patio and cinnamon lattes. It used to be their spot, but now it was hers alone. She texted her girls. Meet me. Urgent. 15 minutes later, Maya and Delphine arrived. They hugged her tight. Girl, Maya said, we saw the Instagram post. Naomi really posted the proposal video like you don't exist. She posted it? Kiana gasped. Delphine nodded. On her story. Captioned, finally my turn. The betrayal felt like a new slap. She was my sister, Kiana said. Maya winced. I'm sorry, Kiki. But, not everyone's surprised. Kiana turned sharply. What does that mean? Delphine shifted awkwardly. There were rumors. A few people saw them out a couple times. Holding hands. At that jazz bar. Kiana's voice broke. And you didn't tell me? We didn't have proof, Maya said quickly. And we didn't want to hurt you if it was nothing. It wasn't nothing, Kiana snapped. It was everything. And just like that she realized, she wasn't just heartbroken. She was alone. That night her phone rang again. Malik. This time she answered. What? She said coldly. I know you hate me, he began, but I need to explain. Explain what? That you fell in love with my sister while I cried over you? He sighed. It didn't happen like that. Then how did it happen? I was hurt. You left without a word. Naomi showed up. She listened. Kiana's laugh was hollow. So you replaced me with the next available woman? No, he said, voice low. I was scared. You always held me to this standard, perfection. I thought if I failed you again you'd never come back. So instead you cheated with my sister? She said you weren't coming back, he whispered. That you'd moved on. She lied. But by the time I realized, you'd already given her my necklace. Proposed on our porch. Let her take over my memories. He was silent. Why did you even call? She asked. I don't know, he murmured. Maybe to say, I never stopped loving you. She ended the call. That wasn't love. Kiana sat cross-legged on the floor of her old bedroom, surrounded by journals, notes, and dusty shoeboxes of memories she had long buried. She had avoided looking back until now. Somewhere deep inside, she needed to remember who Malik used to be before all the betrayal, before Naomi. She flipped through her journals until a small envelope slid out and landed on her lap. It was sealed. Her name, written in Malik's handwriting, sat in the center. Kiana, open on our anniversary. She stared at it. They had celebrated their anniversary 3 years in a row, but she had never seen this. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside a letter. Ki. If you're reading this, I'm probably too much of a coward to say this out loud. I love you. But sometimes I don't feel like I deserve you. I'm scared. Scared of messing this up. Of being tempted. Of losing you because I'm too weak to be strong when it matters. There's someone close to you, I won't say who keeps flirting, testing me. I never wanted to believe I could ever be that guy. But I'm not perfect. And I'm afraid my flaws will cost me everything. Kiana's hand covered her mouth. The letter was dated a year before their breakup. He saw it coming. He knew Naomi was crossing lines and said nothing. So when he said he didn't mean for it to happen, he lied. Kiana waited until the house was empty. Their mom had gone to church. Naomi was alone in her room scrolling through her phone when Kiana stepped in and closed the door behind her. Naomi looked up, startled. What? Kiana tossed the letter onto her bed. Naomi read the handwriting, her face draining of color. You knew, Kiana said. You were the one he wrote about. Naomi held the letter like it burned. I didn't know he. Don't lie, Kiana snapped. You flirted. You tested him. And when I finally walked away, you took your chance. Naomi stood up, voice shaky. You had your time with him. You broke up. Kiana stared. So you waited. I didn't mean to fall for him, Naomi said, voice cracking. It just happened. No. You made it happen, Kiana replied, calm now. He was broken and you wrapped yourself around his wounds like a bandage. Naomi blinked away tears. I didn't steal him. He chose me. Kiana tilted her head. No. He settled. Because I left. Naomi's mouth opened, but she said nothing. Kiana turned and walked out. Sometimes silence was the loudest response. The family barbecue was supposed to be a distraction. Instead it was a battlefield. Cousins side-eyed Kiana. Aunties whispered behind napkins. One uncle asked too loudly, didn't your sister steal your man? Naomi stood across the yard, her engagement ring catching the sunlight. Malik wasn't with her. Kiana sat with her plate untouched, wishing the earth would swallow her. Her mother came over and knelt beside her. You don't have to be here. I do, Kiana said. If I stay away they win. Her mom looked over at Naomi. She's nervous. Everyone's judging her too. Good, Kiana muttered. Let them. Naomi approached halfway through the event. The entire yard fell silent. She stood beside Kiana. Can we talk? Kiana stood up, never breaking eye contact. No. Naomi's voice trembled. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did. You were always the star, Naomi whispered. Just once I wanted something you had. Kiana laughed bitterly. You still don't have it. Then she walked away, leaving Naomi standing alone in the noise of her own shame. Kiana walked into a downtown boutique to deliver cupcakes from her new business. She was halfway out the door when someone tapped her shoulder. Sorry, the woman said. Do you know Malik Kareem? Kiana turned slowly. Why? I saw your name on the label. I'm Raina. Malik's ex. Kiana blinked. He never mentioned you. Raina laughed dryly. I'm not surprised. He doesn't talk about women he replaces. What's that supposed to mean? He has a pattern, Raina said, sipping from her coffee cup. He dates one girl. Then when she pulls away, emotionally or physically, he jumps to someone close. Always someone who makes the first girl jealous. Kiana's heart dropped. So I'm not the first? Nope. I was replaced by my roommate. Kiana swallowed hard. Naomi wasn't just close. She was my sister. Raina sighed. Then he crossed a whole new line. Kiana nodded slowly. Thank you for telling me. Raina smiled. Just be glad you're free. It took me years to stop blaming myself. As Kiana left, she realized she no longer felt broken. She felt awakened. Kiana's kitchen smelled like cinnamon, butter, and lemon glaze. The mixer whirred and the oven timer beeped. Orders lined the counter. Her small catering brand was thriving. Her phone buzzed every 10 minutes. New order. New review. New booking. She wasn't just surviving, she was finally living. Maya dropped by and leaned against the doorway. Girl, you're glowing. Kiana smiled. It's the sugar. It's the revenge success, Maya grinned. And they see it. I don't care if they do. Liar. You do. And you should. Kiana laughed, wiping flour from her apron. Maybe a little. She hadn't stalked Malik's or Naomi's socials in over 2 weeks. She didn't care who liked Naomi's engagement post. She didn't care about Malik's new haircut. They were part of her past. And the future? It was hers now. As she plated a batch of cupcakes, her phone dinged again. A message. From an unknown number. Kiana, I need to see you. Please. It's important. Malik. She stared at the screen. Then calmly wiped her hands and went back to work. The envelope was gold-trimmed, heavy in her hand. It had arrived with no warning, no call, no heads-up. Just the sharp knock of a courier and a note that read, Personal delivery. Signature required. Kiana stared at the envelope like it might explode. Then she opened it. Inside was a cream card, embossed in elegant script. Naomi and Malik invite you to join them in celebrating their union. Saturday 4 p.m. Garden of Light Chapel. Tears didn't come. Anger didn't even rise. All Kiana felt was numb. At the bottom of the card, written in Naomi's careful handwriting. You're still my sister. Please come. The audacity. She placed the card on the table, sat down and stared at it. Her fingers trembled as she reached for her old apology letter, the one she never gave Malik. She unfolded it. Read it one last time. Then she did something unexpected. She tore the wedding invitation in half. And then, taped it back together. Not out of forgiveness, but as a reminder. That night, Kiana placed the torn and mended card in her journal, next to Malik's old love letter. A symbol of the apology she never gave, and the betrayal she'll never forget. She didn't hate them. She was just done. 3 days before the wedding, someone knocked on Kiana's door. She wasn't expecting visitors. She had orders baking in the oven, her apron dusted with flour, and her hair tied back in a scarf. She opened the door and froze. Malik stood there. No smile. No suit. No Naomi. Just him. And a storm in his eyes. "Kiana," he breathed. She stepped outside, closing the door behind her. "What do you want?" He looked tired. "Hollow. The wedding's off." Her heart didn't leap. It didn't flinch. It didn't move. "Why?" "Naomi found old messages on my tablet," he admitted. "From someone else." Kiana blinked. "You cheated on her too?" He looked away. It wasn't serious. Just stupid. She saw them and snapped. "Said I wasn't over you." Kiana leaned on the railing. "Were you?" "I don't know," he whispered. "Maybe not." She said nothing. "I thought she was you," Malik admitted, voice cracking. "But she's not. You were my peace. My balance." "No," Kiana said softly. "I was your shield. You never learned to stand without leaning." He took a step closer. "I made a mistake." "Yes," she said. "But not just one." They stood in silence for a moment. He finally said, "I never stopped loving you." Kiana looked him in the eyes. "I stopped loving you the moment I realized you had no spine," she said. Malik stepped back, visibly wounded. "You don't mean that." "I do," she replied. "Because now, I don't cry over you. I don't miss you. And I definitely don't want you back." He was quiet. She opened the door and stepped inside. But before closing it, she turned. "Thank you, Malik." "For what?" "For setting me free." Then she closed the door. Kiana poured herself a cup of tea and walked out to the back porch. The sky was warm with golden dusk, and the scent of lemon cupcakes drifted in the breeze. For the first time in months she felt light. Her phone buzzed. "Naomi, he left. Called off the wedding. Are you happy now?" Kiana stared at the screen for a long moment, then deleted the message. No reply. Later that evening Maya stopped by. "Did you hear?" she asked, practically bursting. "Yep," Kiana said, sipping her tea. "Girl, everyone's talking. Naomi's a mess. Malik is avoiding everyone. You really shut them both down." "I didn't plan it," Kiana replied. "But you smiled," Maya teased. Kiana did smile. "Not because they're suffering," she said. "Because I'm not." Maya nodded. "That's growth." Kiana leaned back. "I thought closure would come when someone apologized. Or when someone paid. But now, it came when I realized I didn't need either." Maya raised her glass of juice. "To peace." "To peace," Kiana echoed, clinking it. That night, before bed, Kiana opened her journal. She placed one more note inside. "I don't need revenge. I don't need you back. I just needed to remember who I am. And now I do." She smiled. For once, not because someone loved her, but because she loved herself again. Kiana didn't expect to hear from Naomi again, especially not in person. But there she was, standing at the doorstep in the same blush pink sweater she used to borrow from Kiana back in high school. Her mascara was smudged, her shoulders hunched, and her eyes, not the eyes of a bride. They were the eyes of someone who had finally lost everything. Kiana opened the door without a word. Not to welcome her in, but to let her speak. Naomi hesitated. "Can I come in?" Kiana stepped aside silently. They sat opposite each other in the living room. A gentle breeze fluttered the curtains. Kiana folded her arms and waited. Naomi twisted her hands in her lap. "The wedding's really off." "I know." "He left last night. Didn't even pack his things. Just disappeared." Kiana nodded. "He's good at that." Naomi looked up sharply. "I didn't come here to be punished." Kiana tilted her head. "Then why did you come?" Naomi swallowed. "Because you were right." Kiana raised a brow. "About?" "Everything," Naomi said softly. "About him. About me. About what I did to you." Kiana sat still, her expression unreadable. "I lied to myself," Naomi continued. "Told myself you left him first. That made it okay. But even when you walked away, he still belonged to you. And I took what wasn't mine." Kiana leaned forward slightly. "So it wasn't love?" Naomi's voice cracked. "I wanted to beat you. Just once. I didn't care if it was real. I just wanted to win." Kiana's lips parted. The honesty, however twisted, hit harder than another lie. Naomi wiped her face. "I was jealous. You were always everything. Beautiful, smart, loved. I felt invisible next to you. And stealing my fiancé made you visible? Kiana asked. I thought it would, Naomi whispered. But it just made me feel empty. Kiana studied her sister's face. There was no arrogance left. No defiance. Only ruin. Naomi stood. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I needed you to know I regret it. Kiana stood too. Slowly. Do you? Naomi nodded, tears falling freely now. There was a long pause. Then Kiana walked to the door and opened it. Naomi blinked. You're kicking me out? No, Kiana said. I'm letting you go. Naomi stepped forward, hesitation in her every move. So we're done. We're not enemies, Kiana said softly. But we're not what we used to be either. Naomi's eyes shimmered. So what are we now? Kiana looked her dead in the eye. Sisters by blood. Strangers by choice. Naomi flinched like she'd been slapped. But she nodded. Quietly. Respectfully. She stepped outside and turned to look back. Kiana didn't move. She simply closed the door. Not with anger. Not with hate. But with finality. She leaned against the wood for a long moment, eyes closed. No tears came. Not this time. Not anymore. In the kitchen her timer went off. Cupcakes were ready. Kiana wiped her hands on her apron and returned to her life. Her own life. The door behind her? That was the past. And she had no plans of opening it again. Sunday morning crept in with warm light through the blinds. Kiana stood in her kitchen, barefoot, her apron dusted with flour and cocoa powder. Her latest batch of red velvet cupcakes was cooling by the window, and the scent of vanilla lingered in the air. Business had been booming. Orders flowed in from clients she never expected. Bridal showers, engagement parties, birthday galas. Ironically, the same kinds of events she once envisioned for herself and Malik. But today was different. Today she wasn't baking for anyone. Today she was baking for herself. She padded into her room and opened the bottom drawer of her wardrobe, the one she'd avoided since the day she walked out of Malik's house. Inside were 3 things. 1. A sealed apology letter she had written months ago. 2. The torn and retaped wedding invitation. 3. The journal she'd carried since she was 19. She sat cross-legged on the floor, placing the items gently in front of her. Her fingers brushed the envelope first, the apology letter. She had written it the night before she walked into Malik's living room, ready to say sorry. Ready to ask for another chance. Her words back then had been filled with hope, regret, and vulnerability. I was scared. I ran. But I never stopped loving you. Can we try again? She laughed softly now, shaking her head. That girl, the one who wrote those words, still believed love was enough. Kiana picked up the envelope and tore it in half. And then into quarters. And finally into so many pieces that they fluttered like soft snow over her lap. She reached for the invitation next, the one Naomi had delivered with an audacity that still baffled her. She turned it over and read her sister's handwritten line one more time. You're still my sister. Please come. The edges had curled from being taped back together. This time Kiana didn't tear it. She folded it neatly and slipped it into the back pocket of her journal, not as a symbol of pain, but as a record of what she'd overcome. As she opened the journal, her fingers traced the scribbled heartbreaks and joys of the past 6 years. Malik's name was written dozens of times, beside concert tickets, date nights, anniversary dreams. But in recent pages, only one name kept appearing. Kiana. Kiana the baker. Kiana the business owner. Kiana the survivor. She smiled and flipped to a fresh page. With her favorite blue pen she wrote, I almost said sorry again today. Sorry for cutting people off. Sorry for speaking up. Sorry for closing the door on family. Sorry for loving myself more than I loved them. But I didn't, because I finally understand. Some apologies don't belong to me. And healing isn't selfish. It's sacred. A knock startled her. She stood, heart briefly stammering in her chest. When she opened the door, it wasn't Malik. Or Naomi. It was Maya holding coffee and a brown paper bag. I brought croissants, Maya said. Figured you'd need a break from your own pastries. Kiana grinned. Come in. They sat on the couch, cozy in silence. Maya finally said, So, what now? Kiana sipped her coffee. Now I live. No dramatic comebacks? No speeches. Nope, Kiana smiled. No revenge. No regrets. Just peace. Maya raised a brow. That's it. Kiana looked around, at her tiny kitchen, her wall calendar full of orders, her recipe notebook on the counter. That's more than enough, she said. Later that evening, Kiana walked out into the backyard. The breeze was gentle, the moon glowing softly above. She sat on the porch steps with her journal in hand. She didn't cry. She didn't reminisce. She just sat with herself. And it felt good. After a while, she pulled out her phone. No missed calls. No drama. She opened her gallery and deleted every photo of Malik and Naomi. One by one. No bitterness. No pain. Just space. Space for new memories. Space for a version of Kiana who wasn't defined by heartbreak. As the stars appeared, she whispered aloud, almost laughing. Thank you for not saying sorry. Because if she had, she would have gone back. She would have settled. She would have lost herself, again. And now, she had herself. Completely. Liked it? Thumbs up, subscribe and join the AfriHeart fam. Your support fuels our stories. Until next time.